Okay, everyone. Again, my name is Pam Coleman. I am your host today for this masterclass. I'm going to take us off of the screen so we can concentrate on the actual slides. So I want to welcome everyone. I'm sure that you're here for a particular purpose. Many of you have expressed interest in short-term rentals. Some of you have actually owned rentals before and have had tenants. Others, you're just getting started and you've never had a tenant. But this masterclass is going to show you some key things about how to free up your time and increase your income as a short-term rental host, even if you're working a 9-to-5, which I was doing, and even if you've never owned or managed property. And this is me here in Atlanta. Well, I'm in Philly right now, but that's me in Atlanta, just being free, just loving the freedom. So we're going to talk about that. It's not advancing. Hold on, guys. Okay. And so as part of this master class, we're going to look at this $1.2 trillion short-term rental industry. And you heard me right. I said trillion. It's $1.2 trillion worldwide. We're going to talk a little bit about the B&B Stars method that I use to develop, well, it would have been 12 short-term rentals, but 10 short-term rentals in 6 months. And it's called the B&B Stars method. We're going to talk about some of the things we need to be aware of when we're searching for an ideal location. And we're actually going to talk about some things that are happening right now around the country and around the world when it comes to certain cities who are kind of clamping down. So things we need to be aware of. And also how I can support your journey as a short-term rental host. So, okay, one other person is coming. Hold on one second, guys. Hold on. I want to get him in. Okay, so if you're just joining us, welcome. We are just kind of introducing certain concepts and the things we're going to talk about during this 1-hour master class. So I would like to know, how many of you have ever stayed in a short-term rental, either through Airbnb or HomeAway or VRBO? They have all these beautiful commercials now, this Verbo commercials, booking.com. If you've ever stayed in a short-term rental before, type it in the chat, or if you don't mind, just get on the mic and just tell us your experience very briefly. And please don't be shy. Anybody? No. All right, I'm gonna try to see if I can look in the chat, because sometimes I can't see it as well when I'm presenting. And this is one of those times I can't. Would anyone like to just get on and just share? Maybe you've never stayed in a short-term rental. I don't know. I just want to hear from one person. Share your experience real brief. Oh, guys, you're breaking my heart because I can't hear it. I don't hear anybody. All right.
We've never done it, Pam.
Never. Okay, Mila and Keith. Anybody? Has anyone ever stayed in a short-term rental? Ever? No. Okay. Well, real quick. Actually, Airbnb was started by these guys. It was like 3 young guys in San Francisco. They wanted to earn some extra income to pay their rent. And they said, hey, if we rent out an air mattress here in our place, we can earn some income and, and pay our rent. And they actually called it, I think it was like Air Mattress B&B or something crazy. And then they shortened it to Airbnb. And now, like I said, short-term rentals are $1.2 trillion industry worldwide. So it includes all of this, Airbnb. There are some others you might not have heard of, Evolve, Verbo. First time I stayed in one, I was going to my homecoming at Hampton University, and all the hotels were booked and they were expensive. And my son told me about Airbnb. I went on the platform and I was able to get a room and stay comfortably and use the kitchen and all that, and have more space to stretch out in that whole house. And I loved it. And then I was like, eventually I'm like, how can I earn money from this?
I'm sorry,
so what'd you say? Jamal, were you going to say something? or if not, just mute your line because I
I'm
don't think
sorry.
people.
I'm sorry. I unmuted by accident.
Okay, no problem. So as I said, short-term rentals generate $1.2 trillion worldwide. And when look, I'm a teacher by nature. That's what I've been for 40 years. So I think it's important when you're giving out statistics that you should be able to point back to where you got it from. So there's this, it's called Air DNA. They do a lot of research about short-term rentals. So that's where I got that $1.2 trillion. I didn't pick it up out the air. So there's a company called HostAway, and they actually have a platform that hosts short-term rentals. So these are three things that they talked about in terms of some trends in short-term rentals. First of all, that many more travelers are choosing to pick rural locations. I don't know if you've ever heard of the term glamping, but it's like glamorous camping. So people are starting to explore more outdoors around the world, and people of all races, not just, sometimes we might think it's only one type of person, but of all races, they're starting to, travel maybe to, to the mountains or ski resorts or rustic locations like cabins. So that's one thing. There's the rise of leisure. So during the pandemic, so many of us were working from home, and a lot of people decided, I do not want to go back in the office. I don't want to go back in the classroom. I don't want to do that. So people are choosing to work not only from their homes, but also from other people's homes. So they're combining business and leisure, and they're traveling to different short-term rentals and doing their work there. Also, people are opting for longer stays. So between these business travelers, my son likes to call his generation digital nomads, because they kind of, they feed off of digital information and they travel from place to place. So digital nomads and families, all of these groups are generating longer stays. And also it says that travelers who are 40 years older are 4 times more likely to book trips longer than a week compared to younger travelers. Again, I got that from HostAway. Here's something that's very important to note. And I know here in Philadelphia it's happening in Atlanta, where I live. It's happening in other cities around the country. So there are so many cities that are now starting to crack down on short-term rentals. It's like some have banned them throughout the city. Some have banned them in certain sections of the city. Others have developed these short-term rental zones. You can only rent in those areas, or they're requiring a specific license to operate a short-term rental. I know here in Philadelphia, we have a whole apartment building, and it's in a commercial, it's like, it's mixed residential. Well, that it's not even in a zone that now the city has approved of. They only approved of certain zones, and it really squeezed the short-term rental market here. Now, if you're doing it in your home, that's a little bit different. So it's important, even as we're going through this, and as I begin to share with you how I can assist you in your journey, it's important to actually look at the legality before you even begin anything, because you don't want to spend a whole lot of time, money, and effort, and then come to find out you're doing something illegal. So these are very important factors, and there's so many things that are changing. Another thing that's important to note, when Airbnb first got started, because this is like it's kind of like the mother of all short-term rentals. That's what most people think of as Airbnb. When it first got started, there were a lot of small investors, maybe in the home. Like we have 2 rooms in our home that we're renting out. So there were a lot of people who were just doing it from the home. And then more people started maybe getting a couple different short-term rentals in other places. But now what's starting to happen, there are larger investors that are pooling their money. And whereas like the small investor like us, we might have 8 or 10 or 15 or 20, they are getting 500 and 1,000. So again, these are trends that you need to be aware of, because the competition is getting steeper. It's not that you can't make money, but you have to strategically do it differently. It was easier back in the day because it was more like you consider like a mom and pop operation, but now people have like we have automation and so forth. We have channel managers. So these are things that are important to note. So we're competing now against larger investors. So you might have some questions. You might say, is now a good time to get in? So you hear about others making money short-term rentals, and you should hop on this wealth trend. but you're not sure exactly where to start. And I totally understand that. So we're going to talk about, is this a good time? I think it is. You may feel like, I don't have the time to do this. Maybe you're working a full-time job like I was. I was working a full-time job up through February 25th when I decided I could no longer afford to come to work because I'm doing this and I love it and I'm making money and it's no need to come to work. So, but I was doing that, full time. So you may feel like, I don't have time to do it, or I'm involved in all these things in the community or my sorority, fraternity, or church or whatever. But you realize that if you keep doing the same thing and you're not doing anything differently, you're not going to get a different result. So even though you may feel like you're squeezed for time, we're going to talk about ways to automate and also how to use a team so that your time is not being strung out all over the place. We want to make things efficient. And then you might be asking, well, how will this work? So some of you may be saying, I've never managed a rental property before. How many of you here on this call have never managed a rental property? Just kind of just say me, because again, I can't see in the chat. Monique said me. Who else?
Me.
Okay, Tiffany. Okay, that's fine. And I know some people on this call are realtors. I won't call them out, but you, even though you may not manage property, you're selling it. There are others on this call that have managed rental property, but they're trying to figure out, can I earn as much in a short-term rental as I can long-term tenant? And the answer is yes, if it's positioned properly. And then you might also have a question, if I decide to pursue short-term rentals, who can help guide me? And I would like to be able to guide you because I'm loving what I'm doing. Why is this important to you right now? Because many people are not getting ahead financially using their current source of income. So no matter what you're doing, it's a finite amount. You could be teaching, you could be coaching, you could be managing a restaurant, whatever it is that you do, you have a certain amount coming in and then you pay your bills. But if you don't have anything extra coming in, whether it's through short-term rentals or anything extra, you're not going to make the type of impact that you want to make. And for many of us on this call, I think everyone on this call, we're all parents and we want to leave a legacy to our children. So we don't do something different. How will we be able to do that? So imagine if you're able to host guests using a spare room in your home, or host guests in a property that you own, or maybe that you don't own. Imagine if, because you can do that. And imagine if you could learn how to automate your short-term rental business and save yourself precious time. And you notice these two pictures, the lock, the automated lock, and having someone else to clean those rentals for you. And imagine if you had a proven system that showed you how to start earning money from short-term rentals in your first 60 to 90 days. Imagine that happening. Those are things we're going to talk about. So I think it's important when someone is sharing with you, it's important to see their track record. So my husband and I, we've been real estate investors for a number of years, but we just got started with short-term rentals back in November. So when we first got started, we got started with one room in our home. So the first 5 days in November, this gentleman booked and it was $1,300 that came in. And that wasn't bad. That was one room for first 5 days in November. In December, we opened up short-term rentals here in Philadelphia. And so that 1,000 jumped to close to $9,000. And then in January, it jumped again to $12,500. And by that time, we earned $22,540 in the first 57 days. And I started thinking, do I want to continue teaching? And in February, I decided I did not. And I said, I wrote my letter of resignation. I said, I no longer, it was very polite, but no, I didn't want to keep working with those middle schoolers. I have to admit someone. Hold on 1 second. What happened? Okay. All right. So February, it jumped from January 12,000 something, February 14,000, March 15,000, and this past month 16,000, almost $17,000. So I think, again, it's important if you're going to listen to someone who's going to teach you something, they should have a track record to be able to share their success and failures, because there have been some failures as well. All right, so that's important. Hold on 1 second. And so just sharing again that within the first 5 months of opening the 10 units, from December when we opened all of those units in Philly until now, we doubled. We went from 8,600 to 16,000 something, almost 17,000. And so to date, this is how much came in or is coming in for 2022. We're not counting 2021, but 72,000 to date. So that shows you what's been paid out, 60,000 already and expected. So what happens is people are constantly booking. So you see that number right there in May, you see that it's expected 10,000 is going to come in, but that will continue to grow because people are constantly booking. So when you're looking at success, you don't just look at the revenue. It's also important to look at the reviews. So this just kind of shows you some of the reviews, and not all the reviews are good. Sometimes we get dinged because we made some mistakes or something wasn't clean or there was a hair in the bed or whatever. But for the most part, we've had some great reviews. So, one person said she just stayed in April. The apartment was very clean and spacious and comfortable. Another person said it was a great stay. Instructions were easy to follow. Thank you, Chuck and Pam. Another person said, really felt like home, enjoyed my stay, would definitely stay again. So revenue shows your success, your reviews, and then your ratings. So with Airbnb, every entity has its own rating system. Wait a minute, someone's coming in. Hold on one second. Okay, if you're just coming in, welcome. And what I'm doing is, as we're going through this information, I'm recording everything. So after everything is over, even if you miss something, you'll be able to catch up and you'll be able to see the whole presentation if you want to go back and look at it. So with Airbnb, they have a rating system of 5 is the top you can get. And they want you to be at 4.8 in order to be what they call a super host. So they rate you on different things. So there's an overall rating, then they rate you for cleanliness, for location, for value, for communication, and there's one other that I'm forgetting. It's 5 things. So anyway, this just shows that even though we've only been at this thing for 5 months, that we have a good rating. So all of these things share success. And so I know some of you on this call, you're thinking, I've never actually been a landlord. I don't own extra property, but you live in a home, or you might live in an apartment. You can actually start Airbnb right in your home. And this is our home in Atlanta to the left. And we have 2 bedrooms that we rent out for Airbnb. And I know some of you may be thinking, I would never do that, or I don't like people in my space, but we have things set up so everything is pretty much self-contained in their home, in their room. They have their own like mini fridge and all that. And we have our rules and regulations. So there are certain things that are off limit in our home, but we have had some of the most wonderful guests. We've had people from other countries. We've had actresses. We've had future doctors who are doing their rotation, people who are moving into Atlanta. And for the most part, we have had some amazing guests. And then this is someone else's property where we're doing something called arbitrage, which is you're actually leasing someone else's property and you're using that person's property for short-term rental. This is the one in Philly where we have 8 units. So, and there are some pros and cons to arbitrage. I'm not going to get into it right now, but it is possible for you to actually lease someone else's property if you don't have your own, or you don't want to use your own property. So the purpose of this class is to share this B&B Stars method to get your short-term rental business off the ground. It's to teach you a few strategies about saving time through automation. And then at the end, after we finish this 1-hour masterclass, I'll explain how you can work alongside of me if you would like to, and how you can be in a community of other aspiring hosts and how it can help you to become profitable. So I also think it's important when you're listening to someone, you should understand why they have a reason to talk to you. So I've done a lot of things wrong and a lot of things right. And today I'm going to give you the tea. So this is me in my dad's arms in 1961. My parents, William and Lilla Green, they actually started a school for African-American children here in Philadelphia. I call them edupreneurs. So they were educators who were also entrepreneurs because they started from scratch in 1965, and it became one of the largest schools of its kind throughout the nation. So they started with 17 students, and eventually it was like 150 students. It was around for 43 years, and they are my role models. My dad is no longer living, but I patterned my life after them because they were educators, they were innovators, and they were always giving back. Back in the 70s in Philly, like back then, it was very rare that you would have a piece of land that you could build a house, but that's what they did. They found a piece of land and they built a house. Much respect. Like I remember that growing up, walking through, like it was nothing there, and then all of a sudden it was our house. They were featured in publications. This is me on the right as a freshman at Hampton University. When I was 20, I think I was 23, not 22, I actually bought my first property. It was near a university called Drexel University here in Philadelphia. I got it for a good price. It was like $46,000, but back in like 1985, 86, the interest rates were like 12%. It was crazy. So unfortunately, even though I had the right idea, I never made money. Somebody is entering the room. Okay, I lost money. I didn't know how to screen for tenants. So I had some really poor tenants. I didn't know how to manage contractors. So they were always overcharging me. And I just lost money. And then when I sold it, I sold at a loss. But all of us kind of learn from mistakes. And that, that's one of the things. I don't regret it, but it was a failure. I met and married my husband. He was smarter about he got his first property for $1 from the city of Philadelphia, and they gave out grants. So Chuck was able to earn money right away as soon as he fixed it up, and we still have the house today. We raised 2 sons and a daughter. They're all adults. This picture right here is Rosa Parks, our oldest son, Charles. We got a chance to meet her, and he was so little, he didn't know any better. He was playing in her hair and she was just as nice. But now all of them are grown and adults, and all of them are entrepreneurs. And finally, this is the last page. Just to let you know, I've been an educator for 40 years. I've worked with all ages, from little kids all the way to adults. I was a college professor, and I also, did trainings as well for schools and teachers. And last thing, educating real estate investing, entrepreneurship, that's something we've always done, been involved in network marketing and so forth. So that's a little bit about me, but I want to know a little bit about you. I was talking to Mila and her husband Keith before everyone else got on, and they were telling me that they have a property that was a long-term rental situation. They're trying to turn it into short-term rental. But I want to hear a little bit more about what you want and what your goals are. So I'm going to just click on here so I can see everyone again. And anything you might want to share, I would love to hear from you, because that helps me as an instructor to know how I can better help you. Anybody, just get off mute and talk.
Let's see. Well, I'm not on mute.
Okay, Monique.
Okay, so my name is Monique. I just bought my first property that I'm living in 2019.
Yay!
My first one. And so, I mean, I feel that I'm destined to own other properties. I'm not quite sure how to go about it, but one of the things that I was interested in was Section 8 properties, and also to have short term, but I didn't know, how to go about that. Gotcha. Retirement for me will be within the next 12 years or so. Yes. And I want to move in that direction. Yes. And I do see one of the questions is it possible to become a host if I don't own a property? Well, I only have the one. Okay. And right now I'm going through some financial struggles, which may make it difficult to even buy another property.
Okay, that's okay.
So it's well, what do you do from there? Because
it's okay.
I have, a teenager in my house, yes. I really don't want anybody else in there. And it's really not in any room because I work from home. So,
okay. So one of the things, and I know, and I don't want to get too personal in anyone's business, but one thing, just to consider, 2 things. First thing is, if you're working from home, that means you will have eyes on your property at all times. Even if you have one extra bedroom, you have a rec room, you can actually start as a short-term rental right there in your home with one extra room. And that's less stressful because you're already paying your bills. Like, oh, those 2 rooms that we have, that more than covers our mortgage. You're already paying your bills. So you're not going to get extra bills trying to get a different property or trying to lease someone else's property. It's going to actually add income into your household. The second thing is, depending on if you have extra, it depends on like what you bought your property for and what it's worth now, because you can actually pull out some capital, based on where you are. But that's a private conversation, not going to get there, but you can actually leverage some of that capital, if you have enough. Now, if you've only owned it 3 years, you may not have paid down enough to be able to leverage it, but no, those are just some things. Anybody else wants to say anything or unmute or... And thank you for sharing, Monique.
Oh, no problem.
I'll share. My name is Jamal
Hey, nephew.
Coleman. Hi, Aunt Pam. Well, Aunt Pam, or Pam happens to be my aunt, and her husband Charles, or Chuck, is my uncle. And I've had the opportunity to watch you two along the journey. I remember when the dollar house looked like a dollar house.
Yeah.
And to see where it is now, that's awesome. I've been a licensed realtor since 2006. And it's a business that I enjoy, although it can be tough when having to have qualified buyers, or trying to find homeowners that are looking to sell. A lot of times deals fall through when you kind of started banking on them, kind of counting your chickens before they hatch, if you will. And a lot of things have gone wrong in some of the deals that I've done over the years. And I think at this point, I'm just looking to, create another stream of income in the real estate industry.
Yeah.
That's not as difficult sometimes as it is to find qualified buyers and sellers.
Yes. And I got you. And the good thing about you, Jamal, you have access to the multiple listings. So you find out about deals, you find out about stuff before the rest of us. But yes, and we can definitely talk offline. And thank you so much for sharing. And even I know you have a beautiful home. That could be a possibility to start with 1 bedroom in that beautiful home. It depends on, what you guys decide. I don't know. But
Right.
Yeah, but thank you for sharing. Anyone else before we move on? Okay, so if you're ready, give me amen and let's go. So on the left-hand side, this is one of our units here in Philly, and on the right-hand side, this is one of our bedrooms in Atlanta. They both bring in money. So I talked about B&B Stars. It's a method that I actually developed, not developed. I think because I'm a teacher, I'm always looking to see how I can make things easy for people to remember. And so STARS is an acronym that stands for something. So the first thing is you're going to search. So searching properties as a short-term rental host, we already talked about you can use your own or other people's property. Personally, to me, it's better if you use your own, especially if you're just starting. You can start in your own home or in a property that you own. Because the arbitrage thing, regardless of what other people say, you'll see a lot of people talking about arbitrage is easy, this, that, and the other. Maybe it's easy for them, but I'm going to keep it straight up honest. You're not going to make as much money if you're leasing from someone else. That's just a straight up honest truth. I don't care what anybody tells you. All these gurus are out here, because I personally know some of them are not telling you the full truth. All right. You can do it. You're just not going to make as much money. So anyway, we're going to talk about S for search. Also, S is for setup. So these are the steps in the B&B Star. So the first week we talk about search. The second week we talk about setup. And if you have a template to follow, you can set up much quicker and easier. My thing is, if someone else has done something already and I can gain that information from them, it's going to save me time and money. That's why I have spent thousands, like 5 figures worth of thousands of dollars going to courses, having mentors, going to meetings so I can learn. And so I actually have like several templates from other people, and I kind of combined it into my template that I will provide. So you can learn how to set up not just your furniture, but all the other things, the amenities and all those things. So if you have a template, it makes it easier. The third week, we talk about team. Every time you have a team, it just makes things a lot easier. Now, if you're only doing one in your home, you may not so much need a team, because you can do that. If you have one bedroom you're doing in your home, you don't really need a team so much, because you can do all the stuff yourself. But if you're planning to expand, a team approach actually can help you save a whole lot of time. And A is for automation. That's week number 4.
And I have a question.
Yes, sir.
When if you're using your home
Yes,
and you're using one room in your home,
yes.
do you give the short-term tenant access to your entire property?
Yes, so we have a code for the door. So whenever someone comes to or books with us, I use the last 4 digits of their cell number. So that lets them into our door, and that lets them into their room. It's the same code. When they leave, that code is removed. But yes, they have access, but there are certain things that are off limits. Like we have a nice big like a sitting room, and they can see it, and they can, sit and eat their, dinner or breakfast or whatever, but we're not inviting them into the sitting room, because that's our private space. Our dining room is our private space. So we kind of outline for them, these are the places you can go. You got your room, the kitchen. If you're staying with us more than 5 days, you have the laundry room. We have a deck outside. You can go out there. And of course, the driveway. But you're not just going to be all over the house. All right. So that's a really good question now. But automation makes hosting easier. So those automated locks, like we don't have to be there when they come in, when they get there, even if we're not home, they just press the code and they get in. Or, we had, nurses and stuff, or people training to be doctors, and they might come in late at night, early in the morning, they just press the code. We don't have to get up and answer the door and all that kind of stuff. But also there are channel managers, because we had so many units, we had to be able to manage it and have automated messaging and all that. So we talk about that. Even if you only have one short-term rental in your home, you need automated messaging, because you do not want to be answering people's questions 50 million times. Then week number 5 is respond. When you respond to your guests, you can earn high ratings and reviews, which leads you to high revenue. We're going to talk about how do you respond. How do you respond just in general, being responsive, thinking about their needs before they arrive. What is it that they need to know in terms of parking and all that? But also, how do you respond when there are emergencies? How do you respond if someone gets locked out, or, they forgot their code? Or, one time it was the snowstorm here in Philly, and all the lights went out. It wasn't just in our short-term rental, it was throughout the whole neighborhood. We were very responsive, because they were panicking. Oh my God, there's nothing we could do. We kept in touch. We have a team, myself, my son, another young lady, and we kept in touch. And so even though we thought we might get bad reviews, we had very high ratings. People were saying things like, even though there was a negative situation that happened, Chuck and Pam were very good. So they just think it's Chuck and Pam. They don't know it's a whole team. Chuck and Pam were very responsive. So we're going to talk about ways that being responsive helps your ratings and your revenue. And then the last week number 6, we talk about succeed. What are some things that will help you to succeed financially? And I say by duplicating system and staying informed about current trends, you will succeed. So here's the deal, guys. When I first wanted to learn about being a short-term rental host, I got this course, and it was already prepackaged. The person has been doing this for years, and she has all this stuff prepackaged, and it's great information. But guess what? Up to like this very day, things are changing. April 1st, things changed in Philadelphia. I think it was February something, things changed in Atlanta. So if you are going to like get a prepackaged course and you don't have someone helping you and keeping you abreast of current trends, you're going to be lost in the sauce because stuff is changing. If you don't know what to do, you'll spend money and spin your wheels and still not succeed. So, you know, we're going to talk about that. And then even after the 6 weeks are up, there's a community so that, you know, we'll be in contact. And then once a month, we'll be able to have like question and answer and bringing things to the table and so forth. So let's talk about searching. So we turned 2 empty bedrooms in our home into short-term rentals, and these rooms cover our mortgage. This is one of the reasons I quit, because I'm like, why am I going to work? No, I'm staying home. So you might have a rec room, a bedroom, you know, just think about what you have and see if you might be able to turn one of those rooms into a room that you can use for short-term rental. Now, I'm going to kind of preempt some things. I know people on this call have kids of different ages, teenagers, some have young kids. In our space for a little while, we had our daughter and the 4-month-old and a 2-year-old. And so it's like, well, how do you keep safe? Because every single door has a lock. Every single door, you need a code to get in. So in our room, you're not going to get in our room. You're not going to get in the room where the kids are. So you set up things in your home where, you know, the guests know what the expectation is, and this is where they go. And they're not roaming all over your house and so forth. Oh, what happened? Hold on. Okay. So if you were interested in renting someone else's space, here's some things that you would do. Number one, I just randomly said Philadelphia, anything under 1,200, and all these things popped up, but you wouldn't do it like that. You would actually look at a specific zip code, and you want to think about what is it that people might want to go to? What are they attracted to? So like for us here, well, not here, I'm in Philly now, but in Atlanta, we're close to the airport. So we get a lot of people flying in, or it might be a college or a university, or it might be a park, or it might be, so you want to find some place where people want to go. And then I had talked about, I'm not really into glamping and camping. Some people like to go like out someplace that's out in the boonies or whatever, but you're going to pick a place, then you're going to look at a zip code. So you're looking at prices in the area, but then you want to look at also what's going on with Airbnb. And in the course, we're going to talk about that. We're going to do a deep dive and see what's on Airbnb and see what's around it, what kind of, you know, what are people earning, because you can see what prices they are charging. You can see whether or not things are being rented out like a lot, or are they just sitting. So these are things we're going to talk about. You can also look on Facebook Marketplace. This is a $1,000 house in Jonesboro. I know every market is different, but if you could get this house for $1,000, a lot of people like to have their own private space. They don't necessarily, they may not want to be in a bedroom in your house. They may want their own private space. So you can get it for a good price and you can rent it out. And we talk about how you approach how you would approach the owner or the landlord. We talk about those things. We talk about how you don't want to do that in your name. You need to have an LLC. We're going to talk about that in the course. So Facebook Marketplace, Zillow, Trulia, all of these things. So you can find something in someone else's spot if that's what you want to do. But again, if you can start in your home, that is the best place to start, because you're not, it's like you're adding to your household. You're not taking money out, you're bringing money in. And then here's something that a lot of people think. I have to personally greet each guest. I have to respond to every message. I have to clean. No, you do not. Nope. No, you don't. And other people think you'll need a lot of time. You really do not. You can use automation to save time. So even if you only have one, you know, one bedroom that you're using, here's some things that you could do. We have an automated guidebook. So we created it in this, in Hostfully. So they can click on it. They can find out about what's in the area. Oh, I want to get a cheesesteak. Tell me about the zoo. All of that is there. They're going to find out, you know, how to, you know, how to use the whatever, the temperature or whatever. So all of this is there. These are things that will help you to not have to answer 50 million questions. So you're going to get the same questions over and over. So we talk about that. How do you automate? And the secret is you're managing your short-term rental using automation tools. And also, if you have more than one, you definitely want to use cleaning personnel. And there's actually, oh, and also you want to use like a channel manager, especially if you're going to do more than one thing, like Airbnb, Verbo, Booking.com. The channel manager helps everything to go smoothly. Let's say if somebody gets on Airbnb and they book, but someone on Verbo is trying to book, if you don't have a channel manager, it's going to be all screwed up. So we talk about channel managers. We talk about even with your cleaners can integrate with your channel manager. So we talk about all of that. A secret number 3, you can succeed quickly with less mistakes when you have a clear roadmap and you have a guide. And so this, everything I've been talking about, this is the roadmap. This is what I actually use. And this is how I simplified it so that everybody could understand. And it's B&B stars. B&B mean, you know, like Airbnb or any type of short-term rental. This is how you can remember. The first 2 weeks is search and set up. The 3rd week is team. 4th week is automate. 5th week is respond. 6th week is succeed. And guess what? Even when you go through the 6 weeks, you still may have a whole lot of questions. So then I start a whole nother session with a whole nother group, and you can jump on in there. Like you have lifetime access. So it's not like you get booted out. Like, wait a minute, we went through 6 weeks and I'm still on team or I'm still on automate. It's okay. You just come back into class and you keep on going. And then once a month, we have like a powwow where we can kind of catch up with what's going on. You know, different people are going to learn at different rates. Some people have multiple properties. Some people know more than others when it comes to real estate and what have you. You really don't have to know a lot about real estate. You're in the hospitality industry. So you need to know how to be hospitable to people. And some of us are natural at it. We make people feel comfortable. Others, we got to work on it. So anyway, that's B&B stars in a nutshell. And so we're going to recap. You can start in your own place or someone else's place. You can use automation to save time, and you can reach your destination quicker with a roadmap and a guide. So I want to just check in, and I want to just find out thus far if this has been helpful. It's too much. This masterclass is just like a brief synopsis of the things that it takes 6 weeks for me to go through this. But so far, have you learned something that's been of value? Have you learned something that maybe you never thought about before? I want to hear from you. Anybody?
Well, I look forward to doing this. Like I said, I'm trying to channel this towards my retirement. So
Yeah.
I guess my thing is, how do I begin if I'm really at the bottom rung? You know, how do you start?
I got you. Well, I'm going to share with you how you can work with me. This masterclass, of course, was free. It was just a synopsis, but I'm going to share with you, you know, what the cost is for the 6-week training, and it's the ongoing training. So even though you may feel like, oh my gosh, I'm starting at the bottom, you're starting in the right place. And first of all, hats off to you. Kudos to you. I've known Monique since she was a teenager. She was part of our youth group. She was a teenager. And I've watched her raise her children. I'm so proud of you. I wish I could give you a big hug. You own property, and that's huge. That's huge. That's huge. So you're not on the bottom. You're actually on top, because some people don't own property. So you're further along than you think. So thank you. And I love to work with you. Yeah. Anybody else have anything you want to share? So I'm just recapping. What if I provided the roadmap that I use and provided 6 weeks of live coaching? Would that make a difference? And again, This is where I started. And actually this is more now. It's like 72,000 just in 5 months. That's, and I can show you, I can't say I'm gonna show you to do that because we had a lot of properties, but I can show you how to scale. So you can start from one place and you can see things grow depending on what you want to do. Like you might start in your home and you might say, well, I only want to open my home up for like 10 days out of the month. Okay, well, if that's the case, you're not going to make a whole lot of money. You're going to make something towards your mortgage, but it depends on what you want to do and how much time you want to put into it and how big you want to grow. Like I'll work with you to get it as big as you want it to get, because that's my goal. We had some setbacks here in Philly, but now I'm shifting like, okay, where do we need to look next? Because Philly is like drop kicking people to the curb when it comes to like having a large business. So now we got to shift our focus. And I'm gonna just be sure, I'm a very honest person. I'm not gonna blow smoke. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say things are what they're not. Because I hear people out there, I hear some of these coaches and I'm like, I know they're lying. I know they're lying. I'm not gonna lie to you because that's not good. I'm a person of integrity, but I'm gonna show you. So one of our first students is the husband and wife. I actually have a video of them. I just haven't uploaded it, but they came to me and the wife has a 4-month-old and the husband said, if you can work with my wife and help her to be successful, she won't have to go back to work. She wants to stay home and raise this baby. And I worked with them. They went through the first course. I had several people in the course and they're the ones that stayed in. And so the very first, they had 2 3-bedroom condos in the suburb of Philly. Their very first guest booked for $40, 40 nights, and their gross was $5,600. And they took home from that $4,457. And they have a second one that's also doing well. And they're doing so well that as soon as like this gentleman, now he wants to extend his stay, but somebody else already booked. They have someone booked now for like 5 months or 6 months. They're doing extremely well. And they keep saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. I got to get their video up, but that just kind of shows you, I gave them a clear roadmap and accountability. So we were talking back and forth all the time, and that was their result. And so here's the bottom line. You can get started now because the 6-week live course begins next Monday, May the 9th. You're going to learn in an engaging environment with other participants. Your investment in the course provides you the ability to ask questions. Remember, I told you I took the prepackaged one and I couldn't ask anybody questions. It was already prepackaged, and this lady is on YouTube and she's always talking, and I thought she was going to help me and she did not. She had these young guys, like she had people who were in their 20s trying to help me. Y'all are younger than my kids. I've been an investor longer than you've been alive. So no. So I was very disappointed because she projected one thing and then she had like people who weren't even experienced to be coaches, and I didn't care for that. I'm not gonna mention her name, but that I don't care for that. That's not going to happen here because it's live. You'll also have access to the replay so you can review the information and ongoing course updates. You'll always be in. So the next time another course starts, it'll be new people in the cohort. You can always come back in. So the listed price is $1,597, but your price is $1,047. And some people, that's not a problem. And other people, you might have to talk offline and say, maybe I might need to have a payment plan, but that is the price. It is more than worth it because I'm telling you, I have spent 5 figures of money being coached and trained and so forth because it's important for me to learn from people who know what they're talking about. So when you get started now, again, you get 6 weeks of live coaching, help setting up your automated systems because that's important. Tips on finding and furnishing your property. Talked about the lifetime updates, part of a growing community and monthly Q&A and support. And so what I will do after this is over, you're actually going to get a link so that you can see all of this again. And you're also going to get a link to actually, when you're ready, because I believe some of you will be ready, to actually click and start the course, start the payment. Once you pay, late Saturday, you're going to get a link that shows you how to get into the course. And the course is going to happen on Mondays from 6:30 to 7:30. It will be 1 hour, and you're going to have action steps. Again, I'm a teacher. You're going to learn from your homework. So I'm going to share, but then it's up to you to take what I've shared and do the action step. So the next week when you come back, you'll be prepared for what comes next. Remember, it's going to go in sequential order. And if you don't get it right away, it's okay. You can come back around, you can do it again. But that is what I wanted to share with you, everyone. And I am glad that all of you were on this masterclass. And I hope that no matter what, that you have a better understanding about short-term rentals in general, and then that I've given you some value so that you feel like, I didn't know that before. That I learned something new today. I want to just pause right here to see if anyone has any questions, comments. Now I can see the chat. Let me see what happened in the chat. Oh, nobody said anything in chat. Okay. Or Tiffany just said yes. But yes. And I also want to find out, you know, if you were able to have extra time and money, how would that change you? What would change in your life? I know Monique talked about she wants to retire in 12 years. Some of us are already at retirement age. You're young. Some of us are much younger, like Tiffany, she's young. But what are some of your goals and dreams? What would you like to see happen with extra time and money? And I would especially love to hear from Thomas, because I don't even know who Thomas is. Show your face so I can see you. I don't know who you are. If you care to, or maybe put in the chat. Or if you don't want to talk, guys, just what are some, you can put in the chat. What are some things that you might do differently if you had extra time or money?
Just rest and have fun, and
Okay.
rest and have fun, and you know, increase your savings, and
Yes.
and be able to invest in other things too as well.
Yes.
And I like this because as my mind is turning, Pam, I'm seeing this as a family business.
Yes.
To share with our sons.
Yeah.
Because they've got some ideas and things too. So yeah.
Yeah. And I want to say, I'm glad you mentioned that. All of our kids are involved. Our daughter actually has the cleaning business that cleans all of those apartments, and she doesn't do it herself. She actually has an app. She interviews people, because she was in Atlanta with us, but she was interviewing people in Philly, and then her fiance was here in Philly. He was making sure everything got done. And then our son Chris, he was the one that was putting all this tech stuff together. Like, he knows his tech. So that's how I'm able to share with you, because I didn't know how to do all that. He showed me. So yes, it's good to be able to do things as a family. It really is, because like our kids, they know so much more. They're whizzes when it comes to technology. I learned so much from my kids. I'm glad you mentioned that. Anybody else? Well, I hope, oh, somebody's going to say something. Tiffany, I thought I saw your screen.
And
Yes.
No, I was going to ask if you can share your website again.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Let me go back. Here's what I'm going to do. When I send the email, it's going to have a link. It'll have a link for payment and the website. The website right now is just it's a landing page, but on Saturday, whoever has paid is going to get access to like the first portion of the course. So when we start on Monday, you know, you'll have some information, but I will share that in the follow-up email. But thank you for asking, Tiffany.
Pam, will you have things in the class to talk to us about, like choosing people to do renovations, or any kinds of things like that you need to do with your property, or how to choose those people,
or suggestions on what to do?
Yeah, or suggestions on how much to do,
Yeah, I can give some basic suggestions. That's more specialized, and that's something I could probably talk to you offline, because there are certain people that would be like totally like
Yeah.
more, too much
Yeah.
information. But we
Yeah.
can talk offline about that because I don't want to veer off and
Yes.
somebody's in a totally different space. And they'll be like, wait a minute, I'm not there and I don't
Yes.
have that kind of money and I don't have a property.
Yes.
Yeah, we can talk about that. Yeah. Well, I have enjoyed having all of you on this master class. Thomas, can I please see your face? I don't know who this is. And it's like bugged me. Who are you? Can you please show me your face so I know who you are? All right, well, never mind. Whoever you are, maybe you can like inbox me because I have no idea who you are. But I am glad that all of you are on this master class. And I promise you it's going to be an hour. I like to be prompt. I thank you for being prompt. I am looking forward to working with you on Monday. I'm going to put the link in, and it would really help if you know you're going to do it to just go ahead, pay it. And then when I send out the information on Saturday, I can send it out all at one time as opposed to straggling. If you have an issue where you know you want to do it but you don't have the full amount, we can talk about that offline. It's okay. I just really want to get you in the room, and then you know we can work on that. All right, so are there any other questions before we log off? All right, well, if there are no
I'm good.
go
I
ahead.
said, no, I'm good.
What's that?
I said, no, I was good.
Okay. All right. I'm going to log off. I'm going to end the recording and look for my email. You'll probably get a text, an email, and another text in about 35 to 40 minutes. And guess what? You know all those continuous texts and emails that y'all got? All that's automation. It's all automated. Did you know that? Even though it probably felt personalized, it's all automated. And I'm going to show you how to do the same thing. It saves you time. Like I don't, like all the different people I talk to, I don't have time to like individually do that. So it all goes out. Everybody gets these texts, everybody, and it has your name and everything, but it's all automated. Just like when you're shopping or whatever, and you're getting all this email and it has your name, it's all automated. Yeah, because that's how business works. That's how it has to work. Yeah, but I have enjoyed interacting with you, and you'll get an email from me. And also, if you want to book a follow-up call, that's fine too. It'll all be in that email. All right. I'm looking forward to seeing you all on Monday. Okay. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Right on. Thank you. Good seeing y'all, fam. Love you.
Okay. Love you too. Bye-bye.